All right, what's up, guys? We are back for episode 3 of the Real Raw Truth podcast. I'm Kayla, one of your co-hosts, and I'm here with Jane and Sammy. So we were just chatting before this about our topic today. It's going to be a good one. Basically, we're going to teach you guys and tell you guys how to not fuck up your reverse diet after a show, because I feel like this comes from a place where lots of people do get this part wrong, because it is actually way harder than prep itself. And I think people aren't ready for that. So we just really want to put the emphasis on that this week and go over that with you guys. Tips for getting through that, ways that we messed it up before, because I definitely have a story for that. But I'm sure we all do. But then, before we get into that, like, we have to kind of check in and see how the week's been going, because, we were obviously chatting before this. We always do. But how's your guys' week been going? Sammy, you can go first today.
Ooh, thank you. My week has been going pretty good. Just busy with clients, working out only 3 times a week. I just got back from the gym, so it's been pretty good. I mean, can't complain.
Good. I saw you and your mom went out for Mother's Day.
Oh yeah, we did. What did we do? I don't even remember where we went. We went to church and then we just hung out.
Fun.
I think that's what we did.
Jane, how's your week been?
Y'all, my week is going strong. So you guys know this, but for anyone listening, I transitioned out of a corporate career just a few months ago. And so I've been putting my all into my one-on-one coaching business. And it's really just building organically at a really great pace. I know you two are all about this too, but I always want to make sure I have as much time available for clients, and I'm never going to take on more than I can handle, because that one-on-one relationship is so important. And so I've really just been putting my all into my one, personal development, but then 2 into my clients. And so everything's going great. I've got about 5 spots open for my weight loss resistance clients. I don't want to go much above that, because again, I got to make sure that I've got them for them. But that's what I've been focusing on, just building the business and helping as many people as I can without getting too exhausted.
I think that's important, Jane, too, especially making sure you can have enough attention for each client, making them feel important and not like just a number. I think, a lot of clients even ask me that too. They're like, oh, like, how many clients do you have? Honestly, I make every single client feel important. So, and that's how it should be, but you also don't want to over exceed where you have too many clients where you can't focus on each of them. So I think that's important.
Yep. I agree. I mean, we're all kind of obviously in the same boat with like quality over quantity, because the results speak for themselves. That's the biggest thing too. And I feel like when you're growing too, like I'm in that same spot where I'm still growing, of course, but I feel like I get to this like the 45 mark, and then I'll lose a couple and then I'll gain a couple. So it's like 40 to 45 has been just like my stuck point lately. And I'm like, I can handle more. I just need to I don't know. I just got to get past that point. I would love to get to 50. So I do have a couple spots open too, but
I think it's important too, kind of like what we were talking about, before we even started airing this, just growing our content on Instagram, because we have so much client success, all of us do, in each category. And sometimes I have so many good clients that I should be posting, and I'm like, I forget. Same. Or I'm too consumed in working on my client stuff that I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta post. And then it's like a week goes by and I'm like, shoot, I had a good client to post.
Yep. Same. I have one, guys. I have a girl who's doing this powerlifting meet. It's called Relentless, and it's a fundraiser for Hope Kids charities. And so basically what it is, it's like powerlifting meet where people all come together of all around the country and do this meet for these kids with life-threatening illnesses, and they raise money for them, and 100% of proceeds go to it. One of my clients is doing it because she's had cancer, brain cancer, and she made it through it, and she's gotten really strong, and I just have not posted it yet. And it's there. I have it. I just haven't come around to doing it.
To fundraise for that? We should link it.
Yeah, actually, so this is a good way to do that. I will link her donation link in the bio for this episode. And if you guys would like to donate, seriously, anything helps. It's for kids with life-threatening illnesses. If you want to learn more about Hope Kids charities, you can go to their website, check it out. Relentless, it's being held in Minnesota. It's down in the cities. So it'll be in August, the first weekend of August, I believe, this year. And it's super fun. I've been involved with it too before. Like for 3 years, I raised money and I did, competed at this meet too. I'm just not competing this year because I'm prepping. So, but I'm happy to have a client of mine do it. And she's going to be really good. She's actually deadlifting like really close to 300 pounds. So that's cool. When she was told she wouldn't be able to do any of that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
What a success.
Yeah. So, running through my week, I guess it's been hectic, as per usual, with client stuff like you guys too, prep going on, but prep is going really good. So I can't complain whatsoever about that. I'm really happy so far. And then we've just been having like a lot of stuff with like my dad recently with his like health issues going on and stuff. And I was down in the cities, and that's about like a 4-hour drive from here one way. So I'm driving, pretty much every weekend, which is okay. It's totally fine. It just kind of limits my time on some things, but so it's okay. So yeah, otherwise we're just hanging in there and trying to grow and bodybuild and post to social media and all the things.
Doing all the things. We're multitaskers.
Yes, exactly. So, but yeah, okay. So getting into today's topic, don't fuck up your reverse. So this is going to be really important, you guys, because this is like going to set you up for off season. I feel like a lot of people, when they stop prep, they're just like, oh, okay, prep's done. I'm just going to eat what I want. And I'm going to we can gain weight. Like we don't have to worry about that till like next year kind of thing. But especially with females, what can happen, and I've seen this happen, is that you stop training, you stop eating like you should, and you just go off the rails and you gain all of that weight back plus more. And then you put yourself in a really, really bad spot.
I think the scary part is that a lot of times, at least for me and a lot of my clients too, you can get away with it maybe for like a week, 2 weeks, but guess what? Those 2 weeks add up. And it's scary because in the moment you don't realize it and you think that you're looking better, your muscles are filling out, everything's looking good. I mean, you do feel more bloated, obviously, but and then the next day you wake up and you're like, oh, well, I was fine yesterday, so I'm going to keep doing it. That's when you get in trouble.
Yep.
I think we should talk about the why. Like, why does your body do that, right? And so you have to remember when you're competing, your calories are low, right? Like some people say poverty macros, because like you're not really eating a lot. You just trained intensely. You put your body through so much stress. And so what happens during that phase is your metabolism is downregulated. Your thyroid hormone is downregulated. Your cortisol could be through the roof, right? There's ways to modulate that and monitor it now because we know, and we've got the knowledge to do that through preps. But it doesn't mean that it's in the best place. And sometimes, like me personally, when I got my labs after competing, you don't want to get them right away, but about 8-10 weeks after, my cortisol was tanked. So that means it was high, and then my adrenal stopped pumping it. And so when all of that's happening in your body, if you throw food at it, and then let's talk about insulin as well, it cannot handle it. And that's the why, right? Like we've got to calm the stress down. We've got to slowly feed you back up, but we're all here to talk about, why we know this and how we learned it.
Yep.
So maybe we should each go into like a story on reversing the wrong way, or not reversing. I've done that too.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to add a little bit to yours too, Jane, with just like, with being so low calories, your body goes into this like starvation mode. And like, when you have that end goal in sight, it's easy to be like, okay, I'm just going to switch the flip and like, we're just going to go, and it's easy. But then once that show is done and there's not that end goal in there, and it's just kind of this wide open, like, what's next kind of thing, your body catches up. And guess what? You have all this leptin and ghrelin signaling that was previously downregulated and your body was not responding to previously because of insulin issues. And now because you're adding more sugar, more foods you haven't eaten, it spikes it really high. And your body basically goes into this like survival mode, and it's just doing what it's supposed to do, because you've been decreasing your macros. So now you start adding more food and having these like cheat meals or snacking and stuff like that. And your body's like, I want more because like I'm I'm too low of body fat. I don't like this. I need to conserve. I need to save it and stuff like that. Like I had a client going through that right now. And she's just like, she was great during prep. Like did not miss a beat. It was her first prep. Afterwards, she's been struggling a little bit, not bad, but not, it's typical to do these things. And she's just like, I just don't know why. She's like, I just don't know. And so I had to explain this to her, and it's totally understandable, but yeah, as far as a story, yeah, I definitely have a few, but you guys can.
Real quick, I'm gonna add one more thing and then Sam go. The other thing that you just reminded me of, when you're like in the depths of prep, getting onto the stage, your food sources are minimal. Like you don't have a ton of variety in what you're eating. And so when you pull food like that, your body is no longer producing the digestive enzymes to break down all the crap you're about to throw at it. Not that you have to, but we all did, and we all have. And what we're going to give you tips and tricks on how to avoid that. Sometimes it's just, you gotta feel it to learn it. But when you no longer have those digestive enzymes, we got to slowly bring foods back into your diet, and because you're going to get bloated, you're going to feel like crap, you might get constipated, you might have diarrhea, and then that's going to go along with all of the GI stuff that happens when your body's under stress. Sorry, Sam.
No, that's okay. So
Tell us your story.
I was going to go along off of yours first. I know we just keep going on. So yeah, I agree with that. I feel like at the end of prep, your ghrelin levels are so high. And once you have the sugar is like the worst thing that you can have post show. Granted, it's all we want, right? Like it's we're thinking about it probably going into peak week. Well, no, I don't anymore, but when you're so deprived, you're thinking about all these food things, you're looking at Instagram, scrolling on all these things.
Been there.
And so the first thing you want to do is have cookies ready. You want to have all this stuff ready. Like when you're a new competitor, you don't know better. You're like, oh my God, I can't wait to just eat a bunch of sugar, and that's the worst thing that you can do, because once you have that sugar, it's like a drug. It is literally like a drug. So your ghrelin levels go so high, and after you have that one bite of sugar, it goes crazy, because you're again, like you said, Jane, you're in starvation mode. So your body is like, oh my God, what is this? And then your dopamine levels go crazy. So you want more. And so then a lot of times what happens is you end up binging, then you feel really bad about it, but then you continue to binge because it's a drug. You want more, you want more. So as much as we preach it, and we've all gone through it, sometimes you have to just go through it to understand it. But, this is why we're doing this podcast, so we can hopefully get through to, more competitors, especially new competitors who aren't fully understanding, and, just to make them mindful for post show. I think we'll give tips at the end to what we would do if we could go back, and what we now do competing. So I think that's important.
Okay, so I can go into my story because I have a good one.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, so my first show ever, didn't even know what reverse dieting was. No idea. So the day after my show, my family and I went on a cruise. So big mistake there. Don't ever do that. Then after, it was 2017 after my shows then, and I knew what reverse dieting was then because I had done the research on it. I was coaching myself. And so I think I did it too slow. And then what I would do is that I was like, okay, well, I was like, well, I'm a small person, so I don't need to eat that much food, as much food as everybody else. So I was eating 1,600 calories, which is it's decent. It's not too bad, but it still isn't it wasn't enough. But then on the weekends, I would just look forward to the weekends so much, because I was like, okay, it's time for my free meal. And I would plan the whole meal all week long. I would look forward to it all week long. And this one time I went to, there's a place here in Fargo called Sandy's Donuts, and it is it's good. I'm not a big donut person, but they have good donuts. And I went in for one donut and I came out with 5, to which I ate.
Good. That's actually pretty good.
To which I ate 3
you could have got
on
a
the way
dozen.
home. I ate 3 on the way home. Also went and got myself a large pizza. And I sat at home and I ate a large pizza and 5 donuts in a day. And my feet were so swollen the next day, you guys, from edema and stuff, and just water retention, my shoes, I couldn't even put my shoes on. And I was and that was my turning point to just never again. Never again. And that's when I had to like catch myself.
Yep.
Dang, I've been there.
Yeah, we've all been there. I think,
Mhm.
you know, for me, what I did when I first started competing, which is something I would never do anymore, is I would pack all the things that I had been craving, all the snacks, the Reese's cups, you know, even things like that were stupid, like trail mix, like, you know, the things that I was craving, but my body hadn't had, I would pack them all in my bag and I would go in on the ride home. And it's like, that is like the last thing. And then plus I would always get a Dairy Queen Blizzard, always. Like it was the only thing that I wanted. Listen, a treat or two is okay, but I was like you, Kayla, like going in, and then I'd get home and we'd order a pizza. It's always pizza, right? Why is it always pizza or a burger or whatever?
Yeah.
It's a thing you haven't had. And you know, I can't now think of like a time that I like maybe gained 10 pounds over a night or something like that, but I felt like shit. I mean, I would be so bloated. My husband would like always laugh because I would literally be like rolling on the floor, like, oh my, like in pain. And you like, that is not okay that I would binge in pain. So I like you did have, actually, I think it was after I got my first pro card, it was my bachelorette party. And you know, it was a pretty like calm bachelorette party, but it was still like, you know, we went to wine like country and did all these things. And I'm telling you, I could eat a piece of popcorn and I'd be bloated. I mean, it didn't matter because it was a like 7-day series of me just throwing a bunch of crap at my body. And it wasn't even in large quantities. I mean, it was small quantities that would just set me over the edge. I remember coming back from that week and my coach at the time, I was like, wow, I don't feel great. And he's like, I can see it. Like he was like, Jane, you look different. I was inflamed.
Yeah. So very similar stories. When I first competed, I dieted down so hard. Literally I was so cold during that prep that I had to take, I think I told you guys this, but I had to take like 4 baths just to stay warm. Like it was crazy. So I was so restricted on food, but I didn't know any better. It was my first prep. So, you know, I did the same thing as you, Jane. I literally packed everything. And I even set it up in my hotel room, like all the treats, I'm like, ooh, what am I going to eat first? You know? And then I even packed some in my bag because I knew after I got off stage. So that was the first thing I wanted. The first thing I wanted off of stage was to eat something. It was dark chocolate. It was actually from Kanoki's, like my favorite store in Hudson in Wisconsin. And so I would always have my mom bring them for me. And so that would be the first thing I would eat. And then after that, I would just eat a bunch of snacks and then we'd go to dinner. And I was like so full for dinner, but I didn't care because I still wanted it. So I'd eat it. And then even after dinner, when I was still so full and so bloated, I would eat more. It was disgusting. And then that following week, which was crazy, it was like I already had all these snacks that I pre-bought like throughout prep, right? Like when you're craving this stuff, you see all these like fancy snacks and stuff. And so I literally, I'm not joking, like after my first prep, I would end up eating jars of peanut butter and almond butter. It was disgusting. Like I would literally get so pissed at myself. I would eat some and then I'd go put it back away and I'd try to go to bed and I'm like, oh my God, I want more. Like I said, it was sugar. It was like my brain was like telling me to eat more. So I kept doing that. And literally I gained quite a bit of weight and it was not healthy. Like it was not healthy weight my first like after competition season. And after that, I was like, I am never doing this again. So I competed like that second season and my reverse, I like definitely wanted to do it better. I think what I did is I ended up having vacation too. So it was like I was in I went to vacation. I think it was in Las Vegas and there was just so many food options. So I went all around, like I planned every single meal and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna eat as many sweets, but I still didn't do it the right way. Like I should have ate healthy meals. And so honestly, it took me, I'm not joking, I've been competing since 2017 and my reverses have got better, but still like I had something new every time that I was like, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And finally, when I turned pro, I like told myself I'm not going to do anything crazy. So I don't plan any vacations. I don't plan anything. I literally eat, one meal out. I have a small dessert and then the next day I get right back on track. And, and that's just the best way to do it, especially if you want longevity in the sport, but also I learned the hard way because I honestly think that is how I got SIBO. And like
Probably.
it had to be all those binging
Mhm.
and, you know, and then dieting and binging again. So
Yep.
it was just, it's crazy.
Well, I think amongst us three, like to get it out to the masses, I know that there's a competitor that's listening or going to listen that can resonate with the three stories we just told.
Yep.
It's
Mhm.
inevitable because
Mhm.
I know many competitors that have gone through the same thing. And you guys, you know, Kayla and I and Jason at Scooby Prep, like we work with weight loss resistance clients, and a lot of our clients are previous competitors, previous CrossFitters, previous athletes of some sort, powerlifting, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
I'm one of those people.
Sammy's on the going through
Actually,
Yeah, Sammy's doing it.
I'm
That's-
working with Jason.
yeah, that's the thing is if you just continue to let your body do this, like this kind of total load complex, eventually it does catch up with you. And so we're telling you because we've been there. And I will say this. What helped me finally, outside of like the mindset piece, like you kind of got to do that mindset work, like coming out of a show, like I'm not going to do this. And this is the why power is bigger than willpower. And we know that,
Yes.
right? Like I don't want my hormones to be fucked up. I don't want to feel the way that I felt the way before. And so that why, and also I want longevity in this sport. I want to continue to grow muscle. Like, you know, all of the things like that's what's going to push you. But I will say for me too, is being strict with your check-ins and being very honest with your coach.
Yep.
Where are you at? Do you still have a coach? Did you stop working with your coach right after your show? Do not do that. Or
Yeah.
you're in a severe caloric deficit and you're not competing, let's say, but you're just going through weight loss, same thing. This applies to any person who goes into a caloric deficit or, you know, an extreme caloric deficit. You've got to reverse back out and you've got to be honest with your coach. Like that's why we're here, to get the word out to you, but to also help you and to guide you so that you're not alone in this at all. Like you don't have to hide the fact that you ate a jar of peanut butter. Like it's a lot of people do that.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's I think it's also important to like before you even go into prep is that if you have any sort of issues with food, whether it be food addiction, food like concentrating too much on food rules that you give yourself, like restrictions, binge and compensation cycles, like anything like that, you should not prep.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
I had to pull someone from prep this year because she was having some food issues. And I was like, I will not sacrifice your health for this, your mental health, your physical health. Like this is going to turn badly. And she like was all for it. She's like, you know what? Thank you for looking out for me, Kayla. Like, I just want the best for myself and stuff. And for you to do that for me is like really, really awesome. And I'm like, because we don't do this to just like get people on stage. You know, that's not what it's for. It's about making you better. It's about, you know, improving yourself. And like, you also have to realize too, that you're going to fuck up. Like you're all these people that if you already say like coming out of your show, if you're like, I'm going to have a perfect reverse, you're going to fail. Like
No such thing as perfect reverse,
you're a human being. Like you want to have food, like you want to go out with your friends, like, you know, talk with your coach about like, you know, if you're just like really, really hungry, like what I like to do with my clients is I ask them, I'm like, okay, what have you really missed this prep? What kind of foods would you like to have back in right away? And I try to give their food a really good bump right away. I've also tried this. I put a client through a flush right afterwards.
I'm just doing that right now and it's working amazing. Like
Yep.
it is so crazy.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to do that after my competitions.
Yeah,
I'm like,
gonna do it.
But
Yep.
I think that's important too, though, you know, to one, be open with your coach. I think it's very important. Like we're here to help you. Like that's why you're paying us. We're doing like our job to help you, guide you. And, you know, at least for us three, we're not judgmental. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if your coach is, then you're probably not choosing the right coach if they're super judgmental and they get mad at you and, you know, and restrict you more. If they restrict you more, that's not a good sign. Because I've had that happen actually before. So, you know, like where I was doing a reverse. Well, so I had a cheat meal and then my coach wanted me to have literally 0 carbs for a week. And I was working a full-time job. I was
It's a punishment.
yes, after a competition. And so I literally tried, I would go all day with no carbs. And then after that, like I would work a 12-hour day and I was still doing cardio. I was doing my lifting, everything like that. I'd get home and I would literally just binge because I was
Yeah,
so
'cause you're freaking
hungry and
hungry.
like, yeah, so I'd eat way more than what I was supposed to eat. So it's important, to have a good, relationship with your coach, but also I think, finding what works for you. And I think the flush is actually a really good idea.
Yeah. The flush has been really good. My client, she actually got a little nervous because she's like, Kayla, I'm
Oh, yeah.
dropping more weight. She's like, is that supposed to happen? Cause like, so what we do, if you guys have never heard about this flush protocol that we do, we bump your calories up to like 2100 right away. So she was from like 1200 or so up to like 2100 right away. And she dropped weight. So we doubled her calories and it was almost doubled them. And she started losing. And then we did that for 2 weeks. She still like, she didn't follow it like 100%, which in this case, like it's okay. Like I told her she could go have a free meal on the weekend, because you just want that social activity, all that kind of stuff. But she also wasn't going through like functional issues. So we didn't necessarily need to be like 100% on it, just like having that one free meal and stuff. And it seemed to work really well. So now she's calories are up. She's still hungry, which is good. So now we can get her calories higher, and just go from there.
Love that.
I also think I forgot to bring up the point, that if you have a bad relationship with food, 'cause I have a couple clients like that too. And I'm not going to lie, I used to be that person. So, and it's just so crazy because I've never had such a good relationship with food like I do right now. And it's a thanks to Jason because he got my calories so high. And, it's just, I've never felt so good. And so I'm excited for my next prep, but like, this is how you should be feeling though. This is how you should be feeling before you ever start a prep. And I've never started a prep like this, you guys. Like I've always gone into it already having food issues. So it's crazy because now me going through it, it's like with my clients, you should never be, if you're restricting and you're binging on prep, that is just a red flag. And that just is a sign you're just not ready. And that's okay. And maybe you shouldn't compete. Like we talked about the last episode, Jane, you gave the idea of, doing a photo shoot or having other goals besides competing. Like competing may be just not for you at that time in your life, know?
I agree. And the other thing that we should kind of address in a reverse is that you are going to gain weight.
I was literally just going to say that. Yes, you were speaking my mind.
Not be stage lean year round. Like just get it into your head now. You will still look athletic. You will still be a bodybuilder because that was a mistake that I made. And that's a mindset thing is that I thought when I gained weight, I no longer look like a bodybuilder. And then when I think that, I no longer feel it, right? So I would go to the gym and I was like, oh my gosh, people probably think I gained so much weight, but I was just so lean. But here's the thing, like one, that's in your own brain. But there are ways like we're talking about today that you can reverse and still have a muscular physique. Like your muscle doesn't just go away, but we don't want to gain a ton of body fat, throw it on top of the muscle for many reasons. But, I think it's okay. It's okay to gain weight. Now, is there a certain range? Yeah, there is. Like you should not be gaining 50 pounds after a show. And if you are, there's something else going on we got to talk about. And that's why I think, grabbing your labs 8-10 weeks after a show is beneficial because you can catch it fast. Yep. So whatever doesn't come back naturally through the reverse, through food, through the process, then we catch it then. So for me personally, it was my testosterone. So I literally was at nearly a 0. And Jason, that's when I hired Jason. So I actually hired Jason coming out of my very last prep because every time I wasn't reversing, it wasn't bad. Like I got to a place where I was reversing okay, but it wasn't like where I knew I could be. And so, we grabbed labs and, honestly, like it's now been 2.5 years since I've competed, but I, like you, Sammy, feel like in such a good place that when I do diet down again, like my body's going to respond. And I'm not going to be driving myself into the ground because I've got the labs. I have enough body fat. So I've been able to add muscle. I've been able to nurture my body, get my hormones balanced and all of the things. So just know you're going to gain some weight and it's okay, but still work with a coach so that you're gaining the right amount and we can tweak things as needed.
Yep. I think that's a big thing for like off season is that people, they even like get to a point in off season where they are at like a good maintenance point, but then they're just like, okay, I think I can do things on my own. And it's like, but can you? Like, not a lot changes during off season. I think that's the hard part about it, is that like, but like as soon as you change your mindset about off season, like to me, there isn't, like, we all call it off season, but to me, off season is where progress is made. That's where, like, this past 2 years, you guys, like, I've had the best off season I've ever had ever. And it's because
we're all like in this same, like,
yeah, it's like weird. Like my also food relationship has never been better. Like, I don't sit there like and just like look forward to my weekend free meal. Like, sometimes I don't even have one, well, I'm in prep right now, so I kind of opted out of that. But like, I wouldn't even have one sometimes. And like, even before I started, I went to Vegas for that meet, and I like brought my food with me. I went out to eat with people, and like, it doesn't bother me anymore if I sit there and just like visit with people and I'm like, I'm just gonna have a Diet Coke, and they eat. Like, it doesn't bother me, because guess what? As soon as I told myself that like, this food is always going to be here, there is no scarcity mindset anymore about it, then it's just like, meh, like, I doesn't really care, and as soon as you know that, you don't have to like haul in all these things. Like, okay, if it's like, I've done it with Girl Scout cookies, because those only come around once a year, and I was prepping and I was like, I'm just going to put these in the freezer for when I'm done. So that's the only thing I've ever done. But that's
what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Samoa's.
Same.
Duh. And then it takes me like a year to eat the whole box, because I like savor them, because I'm like,
I don't know if I'm at that point.
I'm like, I don't know either.
I will have just like one, and I'm just like, okay, that's good. I gotta like save the rest of them. I'll like savor them so good. But yeah, I mean, coming into this prep now, like, I feel really good about it. I'm not worried about the food aspect whatsoever. Like, I know that when prep's done, it's going to be there. After this last prep, it just really helped with my reverse to be like, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to have a free meal, but I don't need to have, like, if we go to sushi, all you can eat, I don't need to have 5 rolls and 3 appetizers just because I can eat it. Like, I can put it down, but do I want to? No. Now I'm fine with 2 or 3 rolls, and I'm like, I'm full. Cool.
And that's what the cool thing is. I think, one, it's so empowering feeling like you have control over food. And I think that is learned in off season. Like, it is, because you have to get your macros high enough. And the thing is too, Jane, like you said, you have to gain weight. There is no way you can stay stage lean and healthy, because let's be real, competing is not healthy. We have to push our bodies to a certain level. And so we do it in the healthiest way possible. Yeah. But I mean, it's still not a healthy sport. So, at some point you do have to gain weight, and stage weight is not realistic. So I try to preach this to my clients too. You can't stay at stage lean all year round, especially because the sport is constantly about improving your physique, improving you versus you, so you can show up better than last year. And the only way you're going to show up better than last year is if you're actually taking the correct off season and improvement season and growing. And the only way you can grow is being in a caloric surplus and training. So, and we all know, like, muscle weighs more than fat. So yeah, you're going to gain, and you're going to have to gain a little bit of fat too. It's inevitable,
Yep.
But of course, like Jane said, we don't want to gain the wrong fat by just eating whatever we want. Like, that is the wrong way to do it. The right way to do it is to really feed your body with whole nutritious foods. And of course, you don't have to do that 24/7. Like, you should be able to incorporate some free meals. But I would say, honestly, like, what I suggest is, honestly, keeping your meals so clean for that first month, because that first month, like, me and Jason talked about it actually. And I've never worked with him like on prep, but like, we talked about it in a sense where he says what he does with you guys. And he said that within that first month, you can literally build so much muscle. And if you really utilize food and training correctly. So if you
because your body's in this like heightened, like, just response stage. It's just like, feed me.
So if you can just stay strong, think about it. You stayed so strong for your entire 3 to 4 month prep. So if you can stay so strong during that, you can literally handle 1 more month of pretending like you're still on prep. And then at that time, your body is so acclimated that you can have more food, and your body's not going to respond negatively. You can have some ice cream here and there. You can have a cheat meal here and there, and you can probably have it twice a week. You know what I mean? Like, you can have it more often.
That's to like the balance of life. Like I always tell my clients, I don't care if your lifestyle, Gen Pop, a competitor, whatever, it doesn't matter. My goal for you always is balance. Yes, we've got to do some hard work. Yes, you got to stay in a reverse for a minute, but the goal is so that you're balanced. But it is that first month after is kind of the hardest time, because you want all the things. But if you can push past it, have a few things in moderation, like it is going to make your off season so much better, and you're going to come back on stage looking way better and probably leaner than you were before.
That's another thing. Oh, sorry, Kayla. So
I'm just gonna say, go ahead. Sorry, I'll go after you.
It's okay. I don't know about you, but every like show that I've done, I look completely different, and I sometimes weigh more. So just so you know, competitors, sometimes like your stage weight is not going to be the same, and like you can look completely different weighing the same weight, but you're going to be having a lot more muscle. So again, weight is all relative.
That's perfect that you said that, because I was gonna go kind of into that, is like kind of going off of our last episode too about your why and like why you do this, like, and gaining weight in the off season. Like I will tell you guys from personal experience, like I gained 30 pounds this year, over 30 pounds. As someone who's 4'9", being almost 140, that's a lot. That was like the most I've ever weighed in an off season. And I will tell you, at first it was a big mind fuck. Like I was hitting that 130 mark, and I was like, little like PTSD from like high school of like, oh, farmer Kayla, like coming back, where I was a little chubby, you know? And I was just like, ooh, like, I don't want to look like that again. Like, so it took me a little bit to get past that. But then I just like told myself, I'm like, Kayla, like, do I want to look the same? No, like this is going into my pro debut season. Like, and I know I'm going to be the smallest one on stage. So I have to stand out. And I was just like, I need to let go of that. And as soon as I let go of like the number on the scale, I was like, woo, I'm another pound heavier this week. Like I was embracing it, and I could like see it. And I've never ever, and now like I've never looked this good in an off season. And like I weigh the most I ever have. I can go out to eat and have a free meal, and it doesn't bother me to be like, oh, this is unplanned. Okay, well, I'm just going to have like this on the menu. It's not a burger like I might want. I don't even really eat burgers anymore, honestly.
I used to all the time, and I don't anymore either. It's weird. Like
and I just like one from time to time, but it's not like what's me like crave.
Yeah, exactly. And like, so my point being is that if you really, really want to be good at this sport and you really want to go far, you have to let go of just like this number on the scale or like looking good. Like you're going to look like an athlete no matter what, especially once you get to like the pro level. But if you want to be good at this, like you have to get uncomfortable. Like it's not comfortable being at like 138, you know, but like here I am, you know, but I know it's going to pay off, because 2 years ago, my stage weight was like 104. If I even think about trying to be 104 right now, I would look like a skeleton. Like
that's my stage weight. I'm bikini, your figure.
Yeah. So there we go. Differences in size and weight. Like look at Sammy and I, like we're both 104 on stage.
Very different. On stage at like 125, you guys. So
oh, you're tall, you're giant.
Yeah.
Anyone who's listening that's not under 5 foot.
Yes.
I'm 5'1" to, well, actually I'm 5 3/4, but
yeah. So I like, honestly, like I'm shooting to be on stage this year at like 114. That would be like mint. And it's funny because I used to compete powerlifting at 114, and now I'm going to be shredded at 114.
Yeah,
so
that's crazy.
If that puts into perspective for anybody of just like gaining weight in the off season, like how important that is, like we put on some size, and it's because I was uncomfortable.
And Kayla, something else that I think you've done, now obviously we've just become friends, you know, recently, but I think I know you well enough, and Sammy, you as well. You surround yourself by different people, you know, and I think it's really important to surround yourself by supportive people. I lost friends in bodybuilding, and it was nothing that I did. It was because of their own complex issues of me getting, you know, into this really lean, great shape. that they felt I was a certain way, and it was never about that. And so that's okay, because you got to surround yourself by better people that you look up to, people that are smarter. It's no different in business. It's no different in life. It's no different in bodybuilding. You've got to surround yourself by like-minded people. And I think the three of us really clicked fast because we get each other, and we're also here to help each other, right? Like Sammy and I are going through this keto phase right now that sucks. And like, we can bounce ideas off of each other and talk about the days that like, shit, I think I got the keto flu and I don't like how this is feeling. It's no different. And so, if you search, you will find the right supportive people. And it may not be your college friends anymore. It may not be the circle that you started with, and that kind of changes. But Kayla, I think that, that's probably a change that you made. And I could be telling this wrong, but from what I know, yeah. And that's really helpful too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's crucial too. Like you said, Jane, we all go through seasons of life. People come into your life for a reason. And I think that surrounding yourself with like-minded people is such a good thing, but also genuine people. And it's hard to find, especially like the older we get, and then the more that we're in the sport too. There's not very many people in the sport who understand it. So it's really cool when you actually click with somebody, but I think you have to get out of your comfort zone. And I have like quite a few newer athletes who are scared, but I'm like, you guys, so like Fit Body Fusion is awesome because we do like a lot of volunteering booths at like all these competitions. So, I tell them to go volunteer, go meet people, or even like, if you're not on Fit Body Fusion and you're just a new competitor, just go to a show, to a show and then say hi to people, like go see what you're getting yourself into. And then, say hi to people at the gym. You never know at the gym who's a bodybuilder really and who's not. But, I think even just following people on Instagram and just start talking to them, like start reaching out to them, that's how I do.
That's what you got to do. Just do it scared. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, it's surrounding yourself with the right people is definitely going to be a big thing in this sport, because this is honestly a very lonely sport. There's lots of people in it, but that's why you have to kind of like put yourself in there. Like you have to insert yourself into it. You can't just like sit around and like wait for stuff to come to you. Like you kind of have to just go out there and find it. Which is like, when I first started doing it, I lost some friends. I lost a relationship from this. I like ended up breaking up with my boyfriend for 3 years from high school that I was dating.
I think that's another good topic that we should talk about another time, is relationships while competing.
Yeah, definitely. So, I wouldn't change anything for this. Like this has been my entire life. Like it's a big part of who I am and what I love to do. And it just drives me every single day. I've learned so much from it. And just know that like, I think I'm going to end it with just as on my end of just like, you're going to fuck up sometimes, but it's just about like screwing up and moving forward from it and just learning from it. Don't dwell on it. Don't be like, oh, I suck. I'm so bad. Like blah, blah, blah. This isn't perfect. Well, guess what? Nothing's perfect. Like even in bodybuilding, like there will never be a perfect physique. There will always be somebody better, always a better thing. Just focus on you and like what you can do better today. Like that's it.
I think that's huge, Kayla. I think, focusing on you is such a big part, but also like you're gonna mess up and it's okay. Like that happens. And I think I shouldn't even say regret, because obviously I learned from it. But what I used to do is when I would try to reverse and then I would, fuck up, like I literally would try to overtrain a bad diet. So I would go work out like crazy. I'm like, oh my God, I just ate like 3 donuts. I'm going to go do extra cardio, like crazy. And then I would train extra, I'd do like 2 a days and things like that. But now, or I would just literally just feel so guilty that like, sometimes it would even cause me to binge more because I felt so guilty. So now, like if I do have a mess up or something like that, what I think about and what I tell my clients too is like, give yourself grace. It's okay. Literally just learn from it. Let's figure out the root problem. Why did you do it? What was it going on? What was emotionally going on? Journal it, and then let's figure out a solution to move past it. So maybe next time when you're feeling that urge to eat something, maybe we go for a walk or get out of the kitchen, go journal, listen to music, go to the gym, something like that. But Also like just moving forward and just giving yourself grace. You can't hold yourself in the past. You have to move forward.
Yep. I would say, my parting words along the same lines are your failures are lessons. So take them as that, and you just have to keep moving forward. And the second thing, and this will be my last thing, is that your health phase in competing is almost more important than your prep.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I feel like that's how we all connected, is because we're all going through something similar, and it's hard. It's hard going through this health phase. Like I want to be on the stage. Like I wanted to compete all year this year, and here we are. I'm taking another year off. So, but I know that it's going to benefit me just like it benefited you, Kayla,
Yep.
and so when me and Jane compete, it'll be like, yes, let's go,
Yep.
So we're excited. We're cheering for you.
Let us know.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
I'm going to keep that on the down low from the podcast, but I'll tell you guys.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, like honestly, before the year that I turned pro, I took 3 years off, you guys, 3 years. And then I took 2021, 4 shows, turned pro, prep for 7 months. Like that was a long prep. And then I've taken now like 2 years off going into my pro season. So like in the last 5 years, I've only competed 1 year. So it should take time.
That's pretty eye-opening when you look at it that way. And you
It
have so much progress.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know what the crazy thing is too? So I've talked to quite a few like higher level pros, and they mentioned that they only do a couple shows a year, and then they take a lot of time off. That's how they have so much longevity in the sport. So it's crazy because of course, when we're at that amateur level, we're just fighting so hard for that pro card. And I get it, we have to keep showing up, and a lot of it in the sport too is showing up. So yes, I get that point. But then once you get to that point, then it's like, okay, well, we also need to take some off season. If you're getting feedback that you need to continuously grow, well, then that might be a sign that we need to take like an actual like long year, maybe 2-year off season to actually grow and bring those improvements.
Yeah. And I don't foresee like having to take like another 2 years off by any means. Like, getting up to that new like level of like being a pro, like might have to take longer because you have to grow. And so, now we might be able to take shorter off seasons, stay a little leaner in my off season, refine things. And that's why you guys only see like Jen Dory and Laura Lee and like all these top level Olympians, look like they're always in shape, right? But they're like, there's not much improvements they need to make. So that's why, and that's why it's unrealistic, unless you get to that spot, cool. But until then, lift heavy, eat all the food, and get fucking big. That's all I gotta say.
Let's do it.
Well, maybe if you're bigger, I don't know about bikini.
Okay.
You still gotta get big.
Yeah, you do. But I don't know if we can eat all the food.
I'm 5'5", Sammy.
That's true. You're dying on this keto. I'm over here like, I'm not hungry.
All right. Well, we're going to leave it at that for you guys today. I think we covered quite a bit. I think we also brought up a lot of other things that can be just topics in and of themselves. But we will be back next week. We have our first guest speaker coming on. You guys can probably all guess it's going to be Jason, because he's brought us all together. So he will be on in 2 weeks. Yes, cool. 2 weeks. And then we will talk with him, and we're going to have more guests on and everything like that. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But until next week, we will see you guys later.
All right, bye.